Ready? Hey guys, sorry that you missed tonight. Those of you that are working, those of you that missed out, we just wanted to provide a way for you to be connected to what we're doing. And so we just thought we'd talk about the Bible study, talk about our week. I've got Nathan here, got Demi here, and we're just going to try this and see what happens. So our Bible study series for this semester is called MyTribe. And what I wanted to do is kind of give you guys this inspiration, this understanding that you're actually part of a tribe. And this tribe is where God has placed you. And we talked about that there is a purpose and that there's a calling. And you guys remember the illustration that I gave you with the silverware? Do you remember the silverware?
Yeah.
What was tell them what the silverware was. Do you remember what the silverware was? Or I can do it.
You can do it.
I'll do it. Okay, so if you went to your kitchen, you pulled out the silverware drawer. The silverware has a function to it. There's a purpose to it. What's the purpose?
To help us eat.
To help you eat, yeah, to help you eat. But also within that, there's also what I call a calling. And that calling is, in that silverware tray is these little compartments. And those compartments have the forks and the spoons. And that fork and spoon is...
Fork.
Well, no, but yes. It doesn't, no, that's that other category everything else is in.
Don't forget the knives too.
Yes, the knives. And everyone has a different job. There's a calling to that. So a fork is still something that you eat with, but it's a special way to eat with the fork.
It's
so
not
these
certain things you can use a fork with.
the only things that you can't eat soup with a fork. So there's a special utensil for eating soup. And the idea is the same way with when we talk about these tribes. When we talk about tribes, we're not talking about just groups of people gathered for some reason or just kind of clumped together. When we are looking at our group here at Colonial Hills Student Ministry, we're talking about a different type of group. We're talking about the tribe, and the best way to do that is to look at the 12 tribes of Israel and what God was doing with those 12 tribes, and why he was forming those 12 tribes for a purpose and for a calling, and then apply those things to our lives to say that you are part of a tribe, you are part of a tribe, and you have a special purpose and a calling for that tribe. And so, really quick, what we looked at was that God took those 12 tribes and ordered them. He placed them in order when they were at rest, he placed them in order when they were moving, and he placed them in order when they got to this promised land. So we talked a lot about the history. We're not going to go through that, but I just want you to look at my hand for a second. So right in the middle of when they were at rest, right in the middle was the tabernacle, and then around that was the tribe of Levi, which were the priests. Now around that were the other tribes, and God arranged them in a certain order. At the entrance, if this was the entrance of the tabernacle, at the entrance was the tribe of Judah. And then the other tribes were outside of that. And a lot of times people think that they align themselves in the directions, north, east, south, west. So if you look at how this works, the tabernacle was in the middle, with the Levites around the middle, and then there was Judah at the front, and then there was all the tribes in this line, east-west. What does that look like?
A cross.
It looks like a cross. Now I don't want you to put too much emphasis on this, except to say that what is in the middle? The tabernacle. And there's a reason for that, because God wanted the people, when they were at rest, they wanted to know that God was in the middle, because when God's in the middle, he's at equal distance with everybody else. God is no farther from you than he is from you, or no farther or closer to you than he is to your friend who doesn't know Jesus. That's important for us to understand, because when we're at rest, God wants to be our center. But he was also put them in order when they were to move. When they moved from one place to another, there was an order. And the order was, there was a tabernacle, or there was the Ark of the Covenant at the front, then Levi, then what do you think the other tribe was next after that? Starts with a J.
Joseph?
Judah. I know. So Judah. And the reason why is because Judah was at the head, and then all the tribes were after that. Why do you think what is the importance of that order when they're in movement?
If somebody was resting.
If they were in movement, then who's at the front?
God.
God's at the front. And there's a symbolism with that. And how does that apply to us? So when we're moving from one place to another, when we're moving our lives, I wanted you to know that part of your tribe is being led by God.
God knows where you're going.
God knows where you're going. What about when an enemy approaches you? Who does the enemy meet first?
God.
The front, right? Which is God. This is important application points for us, isn't it?
I think that's my favorite part of the lesson.
Was an enemy comes and he meets God first, but a lot of times we want to kind of get and say, hey, I'm gonna handle this, God. You take care of it. I'll handle it. That causes trouble, doesn't it? It kind of does. So he does this. He puts them in an order to kind of call out their purpose. He wants them to see, and he wants the world to see, all these other nations to see that when this group of 1 million or so people are moving about, they always seem to go in a pattern. God's in the middle or God's at the front. And that was pretty terrifying for a lot of these nations. It applies a lot for us too. But he also does this act of purification. Now, we talk a lot about laws. What's one of the laws we think of? We think of the 10 Commandments. Yes. And so what happens in the middle of God forming to move these tribes, his people, throughout, he also begins to purify them. Why do you think he wants to purify them?
To make sure there's balance.
To make sure there's balance, and you want to make sure that they look different than everybody else. That's really what purification means. It is it's an unmixed.
Making them each unique.
Make each unique, right? That's good. Each unique, and each of them to be unique for you and above everybody else in the nation. So in this process of making them unique, making them special, is he gives them a name. And that name was way back at the very beginning when when Jacob named his sons. And he gave them a name which meant something. He also gave them a blessing and warnings about their family. So at the very beginning, God said, I want to give you guys a name, something that's separate, a uniqueness. But he also says, I want you to give a special purpose, a special calling. And I want you to be different than everybody else. And you guys have already said how that impacts us. He wants us, he prepares us to be a blessing to the world, and then he also gives us the power to fulfill that blessing. Now next week is something going to be different, because we talked about how today we talked about God formed us, put us in an order, and he also blesses us. But next week we're going to talk about how these tribes, every single time God tried to do this, to put them in an order, to give them, to make them unique, they rebelled. There's a pattern. God would act and give them some ways, and then they would rebel. So God would act and give them some more ways, and then they would rebel. And it happened over and over and over and over again. And the reason why is because near the end of this cycle, there were two people. They were prophets, Ezekiel, and then there was Isaiah, and they kind of nailed the issue. He says, "There's no way for you guys to be able to do this because you have hard hearts, and you need your hearts to be replaced." So next week, that's what we're going to talk about.
So next week we'll learn, what happened right when he started.
Yes. So can't wait for next week. Thank you guys for helping me out with this.
I
See you guys.
got one question.